道で見るいつもの新聞いつものテレビどこ行ってもすぐそこに心ハムスルーでどこ行ってもすぐそこに笑顔溢れてるいつだって、yeah、途方に暮れて迷っても君を待つ家の光いつだってラララララ
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the GameNight Podcast. As always, my name is Tyler, or Geekish if you prefer, and I am here with my co-host today, Tanner.
Hey there.
And a brand new co-host. You guys probably know him if you've watched the GameNight content, but he's new to the podcast, Jordan.
Yo, what is going on, guys?
Jordan, since this is your first time on the podcast, why don't you just, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where they can find you.
Okay, I would say I like to talk about myself a lot, so this could be dangerous. But mainly, I just finished my master's degree. I stream a lot sometimes, not so much, but now that we're done, we're gonna be streaming again. So you guys can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, all at JP3Pete, and then Instagram is JPalmer71. We'll put all that down in the description on the YouTube video. You guys can look me up there and stuff. But other than that, like, I'm in the Army. I'm in the Illinois National Guard. That's what I do. Like to work out a lot. So, that's about all for me.
Yeah. What are you planning on streaming when you come back? You still gonna be doing a lot of Destiny 2, or you got something else in mind?
I'm not entirely too sure right now. I kind of fell off with Destiny 2 whenever I got busy, just because it takes so much to keep up with it. And I know new seasons have dropped. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately in my spare time, and then we've obviously been playing things such as Spellbreak.
Spellbreak's a lot of fun.
I've been starting to get back into World of Warcraft a little bit, so we're just going to kind of play some random games. I've got a lot of single-player games that I haven't completed yet that I've had for, 6 months to a year, and then I've got all these games on my computer. I'm just like, I just need to play these and stream them and just get myself out there and start doing more content.
I feel that 100%. 155%. So again, like he said, all of his links will be in the description below, as well as mine and Tanner's socials and whatnot, but you guys already know all of that by now. So it's been a while since we've actually recorded a podcast. I just want to say a personal big thank you for the reception on the first episode. You guys really came out and supported, and I really appreciate that. Not only on YouTube, but on Spotify as well. It is really, really dope of you guys to show that support. So thank you to everyone who watched and or listened. That's super, super dope of you. I'm excited to record more and more podcasts, and I mean, we got nothing but time now, and some shit's actually happening in the world, so we got stuff to talk about. And speaking of things happening in the world, something recently happened that I really want to talk about, and I think we get into. 6ix9ine got out of jail recently. And he just released his first track since coming out, and he broke 2 records. Most viewed Instagram Live at 2 million, and most views in 24 hours at 43 million.
God damn, it's insane.
I really like the song, and I think he came back in the only way that he possibly could have. Like, he joked about the situation. His song was still like hard, and yeah, it's exactly what I expected, but not what I expected at all.
Right, like it's one of those things. Like you can't change the past and what's happened. Like he can't control any of that now. So he got to embrace it and just go forward with it and just play off of it. Exactly.
No, and I mean, obviously it paid off. He literally, so in the United States, it's something like, I don't remember exactly. I think it's like 50 or 70,000 sales of a music video is considered platinum. Okay. And the way like YouTube and Spotify works is if you're using like free YouTube or like free Spotify, every 600 plays counts as one sale. And then if you're using like Spotify Premium or YouTube Premium, it's 100 plays. So I remember doing the math, and like 5 hours after the video came out, it was like almost platinum just off of YouTube views.
Damn.
Yeah. So this is crazy. Do you think he's gonna? I mean, like obviously he'll probably drop a mixtape or an album. I would say. Do you think it'll be this year? Probably not.
I mean, he's got nothing but time right now, and I don't think any of his old buddies are gonna want to hang, given how much he snitched.
And he's on house arrest, and he has a studio in his house.
So he's just stuck, in the crib, just writing songs and shit. So I mean, unless 100%. He just Instagram live like streams like every day, trying to farm clout, I think he's gonna have to drop an album if he wants to stay relevant.
Yeah, no, I think he'll probably do a mixtape this year, but we'll probably get an album next year, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good possibility, because like you said, he's got nothing but time. And you gotta think, like, when somebody's locked up, they have nothing but time. Like,
that's what I was saying. He was just in prison. He was probably just writing.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of them do in there. Like, they have nothing but time. They have nothing but time to like sit there and reflect on like everything. And
exactly.
Like someone who's like a good lyricist and a good artist, they can turn that into, whatever. I mean, you got to think, even like Hitler, when he was in prison, he wrote his
Mein Kampf.
Yeah, his best book. So,
Yeah, no.
I thought you were gonna say when Hitler was in prison, he wrote his first mixtape.
Yo, imagine if Hitler just had a mixtape though. Like, they find a secret compartment like tomorrow, and
dig it out of an old Nazi vault. And it's an ancient cassette tape,
and just an 8-track, and they fucking.
I bet that
mixtape. They plug it in.
That mixtape was fire.
That was some gas bars, bro. Absolute gas. People were dying to hear it.
Jesus.
But that would be hilarious if they just found Hitler's mixtape. But yeah, no, I think 6ix9ine, he definitely still has a career, and that definitely like upsets people.
I mean, he said it in the song, you big mad.
You big mad, and big sad.
I just gotta appreciate the balls on 6ix9ine just to take the situation the way that he has. And, like, historically, I haven't been the biggest 6ix9ine fan, just, like, of his music. But, like, the guy has an undeniable swag. Like, I've listened to a couple of his songs before, and I thought, yeah, they're okay, but, like, I don't, like, listen to him all the time or anything. But it's just, like, he's been taken up a notch for me just because of how he's handled. Like, I do like his new song, and I like how he's just handled the situation. He just has this swag about him where it's like, oh, man, even though you were a snitch, you're talking about it so earnestly, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, he's, facing
balls on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no. But I'm excited to hear more music from him. I'm excited to see more Instagram live videos from him. I think that'll all be good fun. Very good fun.
And here's one thing I do want to bring up. So I googled some stuff just to kind of see some of the latest news on 6ix9ine. I guess he, like, since his release from prison, and he was wanting to share some of his wealth, so he attempted to make like a $200,000 donation to the No Kid Hungry organization, but the charity rejected it.
Yeah, because they were like, we don't accept money from people whose past or agenda we don't agree with, or something along those lines.
And
yeah, no,
that's weird.
That's insane. For like, as much as we complain about like world hunger, like kids not being hungry, but an organization that is a non-profit, or I think they're a non-profit organization. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
To reject a donation like that, like, I mean,
Especially, of that quantity.
Yeah, exactly. That's like some, like, if I don't know, somebody else who's got out of prison. I'm trying to think of an example here. Like somebody wanted to donate to, like if Michael Vick got out and he decided he wanted to donate to like support PETA or something, they rejected it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I could think of off the top of my head.
That is a good comparison, I guess.
That one's more ironically funny, just because
Yeah, that's true.
it's Michael Vick giving money to PETA,
Yeah.
Right.
Because, he, like,
Abused animals.
fucked a dog or something. I don't really know the specifics.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, he went to prison for dog fighting. For those out here that don't know.
I sped read the article. I thought it was
Yeah.
dog fucking.
I can see
Read
where you
it
get that
really
confused.
fast.
Yeah. The brain just fills stuff in.
It does sometimes.
Wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. A whole bunch of jokes just clicked for me.
But yeah, 6ix9ine is just... He's gonna get a lot of clout off of this just because, like, even people that aren't really interested in rap were kind of following the thing just because of how many headlines were coming out about him snitching on people.
Bro.
Like, that's why the video got so many millions of views, is just because everyone heard about, like, the 6ix9ine case, even if they didn't like rap. And then, like, he
Yeah.
drops a song and they're like, oh my god, this dude didn't get capped, like, as soon as he walked out of prison.
Bro, that's first off. So that's something I wanted to say. Do you guys think there'll be any like repercussions? Do you think anybody's gonna target him or anything like that?
I mean,
I think there's a
people are gonna
possibility for it.
target him, but I don't know if they'll be successful.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think the like Bloods are gonna come after 6ix9ine. I think there might be like random street dudes that come after 6ix9ine, like they do every rapper, because they want clout.
Right, and you gotta think he's gotta have security posted up in his house and
Oh,
outside his
100%.
house.
Also, since he's on house arrest, I imagine there's police around his house,
Right.
like frequently. And so I don't know, man. I don't think, like, I'm not gonna say I think he's gonna get away with it, but I think he's gonna be all right.
I think he's gonna live.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't think he's gonna face any more scrutiny than any other rapper.
Right. It's one of those things that's kind of like eventually it's passed, like time passes on. Like it's going to be one of those things that just kind of blows over.
Yeah, he's just gonna be another rapper.
Tupac killed people. Biggie was fat. 6ix9ine snitch. It's all about the music. Let's
Let's
forget
just-
about the bad
yeah.
things they did.
Let's just forget about their flaws.
Right.
Yeah, no. But speaking of people being scared of things, you guys seen the Siren-Head video that's been going around Twitter?
Oh yeah, the one where
Of,
it's like
the creepy pasta.
the super tall one where it's like over that hill.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually have not.
Here. Tanner, will you post a picture in the Discord for Jordan?
Yeah, one sec.
And also, as an editorial note, will you post a picture on the screen?
I will indeed. Finding a screen cap from that exact video is gonna be hard, but
Yeah.
this one gets the point across.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, Siren-Head's pretty cool, but I feel like it's just sort of like the creature of the now that's gonna be like the hottest shit for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and then it's
just
gonna
an
get
old-
replaced with another creepypasta.
Like a knockoff
it's-
Slender Man?
I mean,
Kinda.
like its
This
thing is that it
one-
kind of like stalks around and it has like sirens for
Yeah,
heads,
it's like,
and
this
it
one
plays
has,
like creepy
an
audio.
actual like backstory to it, whereas Slenderman's just like it was for an art competition.
Oh, yeah, true.
But I have here a Siren-Head creepypasta that I would like to read for you guys. And I want to judge this creepypasta on it's creepiness on a scale of or 0 to 5 out of 5 Jeff the Killers.
Rating it out of Jeff the Killers isn't very fair because Jeff the Killer isn't fucking scary.
No, but that's just so what I want you to do for this part of the podcast, when we give our answers, you'll put the number of Jeff the Killers as just Jeff the Killer's face out of 5.
Okay.
So it's just an item of measurement.
I gotcha.
Awesome. I'm a 24-year-old soldier, and after what happened to me, I've had an uncontrollable fear of sirens. Uh-oh, Jordan.
Oh, dear.
Every Saturday night at camp, I can hear screams that only I can hear. I wake up my friends sometimes just to see their reactions and maybe figure out a solution to it. Maybe check it out or something. But they never hear a thing. Every time I hear those screams, they're either a man's, a woman's, or a child's screams. But there's something peculiar about them. It has this quiet, noticeable static sound every time someone screams, or should I say, whenever a scream plays. It sounds like it's coming out of a siren, and it wakes me up every night. I've learned to ignore it, and I've thought that it was probably just me imagining things, since I didn't like sirens that much as a kid either. Too loud to be enjoyable. It wakes me up every night, and it sounds very realistic. So I thought I should ask the headmaster if our sirens accidentally play those weird sounds at night. The next morning I talked to him about it, and he said that it may have been an error, but even if it was, the sirens were turned off at night. Only the alarm ones were on. I tried to get him to look deeper into this thing, because I doubt it was just an error, and I was sure it was coming from a siren. But he said he thinks I'm talking nonsense and took me to do some exercises with the other soldiers. He might have been right. Maybe I was just paranoid. That night, the sounds weren't that loud. It sounded as if they were playing from somewhere inside the forest. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to check it out. I grabbed a flashlight, a shotgun, and sneaked out of camp to go into the forest and investigate. I know I may sound like a dumbass for doing this, like going out of a camp to go check it out, but those screams were making my sanity fall apart. I kept walking and walking. Nothing was found, but I could hear the sounds getting louder. I'm sure I was approaching it. I ended up in a straight dirt road, and then I saw something. It was too dark to see, but I could see something really, really freaky in the dark. It was in the middle of the road, so I pointed my flashlight at it, and there it was. A slim monster that was about as tall as a tree, having long arms that could reach its toes, and having long arms that could reach its toes, and for a head, 2 sirens that connected into one tube. It looked very skinny, as if it was only bones, but you could clearly see some flesh on it, and it had metallic wires going through its body. I was terrified, but without any second thought I immediately held my gun and shot at it. It didn't die. The bullet marks were clear, and I could see some blood running down, but instead of showing signs of pain, it started walking towards me. Without any second thoughts, I ran the opposite direction from where I was facing. The siren mimicked my scream and played it again. The static sound always gave me a fucked up feeling in my stomach, but from close up it was much more terrifying. Then it started to play some other weird sounds coming from its siren, such as a tornado warning, Amber Alert announcements, and generally announcers speaking about scary things such as murders, criminal escapes, and other messed up stuff. I could run really fast, but even weird flex. But even though it was walking, it wasn't far from me. Let's say I was far enough for it not to catch me. I grabbed my gun, stopped, and shot at the siren. The sound it was playing were glitching out. I managed to outrun it, but it started approaching me pretty quick. I went far enough, but I could still see it in the dark. I was running for about half an hour. It felt more like an eternity. Our distance didn't even change by a centimeter. It felt like I was running on an infinite road. Luckily, I could see a car. Thought someone was there, whoever it was. I needed them to get me away from that thing. but to my disappointment, it was locked. Big mistake stopping. That monster now was a bit closer and the road got really muddy, so it slowed me down. I got out of the road and got inside the forest. It didn't come in. I could see it facing at me, but it stopped moving. I saw my camp. I was relieved, but still scared to stop and relax. I asked the guards to let me in, and since they knew me, they obviously opened the door. They asked me what I was doing outside this late and how did I get out. I apologized and asked them to keep it a secret and explained to them what I saw and how I left. They probably felt sorry for me and thought I was being paranoid. They told me to go get some rest. I swore to them that I didn't lie for what I had seen. They still didn't believe me. I shrugged it off and went back to bed. That night I was so terrified. It was the most scary experience I've had. Around 5 or 6 a.m., I awoke to sounds of screams and the subtle smell of smoke. I came outside to see what woke me up. Everything was on fire. Towers were torn apart and I could see piles of dead bodies. The thing that caught my eye, though, was what I had seen some hours ago. That tall, skinny, siren-headed monster. It was responsible for everything. Soldiers begged me to help them, but I could not do anything about it. They were literally torn in half. That monster saw me and reached out to grab me. It missed. The whole camp was on fire. I even wondered if it was in hell. I ran and ran. It chased me, but I never stopped running. After running for so long, I came to the end of a cliff, and now that there was light, I saw the monster more clearly, and now it was now more terrifying than before. I stopped walking. I could hear a crispy yet soothing voice coming out of the siren. "Do you like heights, Mark?" How could this monster know my name? This had to be a never-ending nightmare, but it was reality. Come to me. I begged the monster not to kill me. I cried and asked it to leave me alone. To my surprise, it left, not sure if it regrets its decision or just wanted to get revenge later. As I watched it turn and disappear into the woods, I felt relieved that I escaped out of this situation. I went back to camp to see all those dead bodies and broken buildings, and I had to call someone, or I wasn't leaving this place. I'm always carrying my cell phone, so I called 911 and told them to come back to the camp address. When they arrived, they told me to explain what happened and how I survived it. I described everything by detail, but they thought I was joking and told me to act serious. I told them I was, and they finally took it serious, sort of. They said they'd investigate this. I packed my stuff, and they brought me into the city. I went back home and was happy to see my wife and kids. They were surprised to see I came home so early. I was supposed to come home 5 months later. I explained to my wife what had happened, and she just wouldn't believe me. She said I probably needed some rest and get all of this crazy shit out of my imagination. All of this makes me curious. Am I living in a nightmare? Was I actually paranoid? Whatever it was, it's done, for now. I pushed the curtains aside and opened the window to get some fresh air. I looked outside. It felt good to be home, but what I saw in the distance made me feel shocked. That monster was on top of a building, really far away. I tried to ignore it and went to sleep. I probably need to book a therapy session. End of story. I think, so first off, this was very poorly written.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to read at times, but obviously it's a story and didn't actually happen.
No. What?
Hey. Yo.
You're telling me the Siren-Head ain't real.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said at all. I just said that this story didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Siren-Head's definitely real. I know. I fucked Siren-Head once.
Eli's so cray.
Eli's okay. I fucked Siren-Head. Not clickbait. Me, Siren-Head, and Slenderman had a threesome.
I'm gonna give the story 2 out of 5.
Jeff the
It
Killers.
doesn't. Yeah, two Jeff the Killers out of 5. Not horribly scary. Siren-Head itself is a scary looking design, but it follows more within just, it makes cooler, like, weird imagery, I guess. There's not a really good story you can write around it, just because the monster itself isn't a character. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. How about you, Jordan?
I'm probably gonna say a 2 out of 5 as well. Just because I don't know, I didn't really think it was that scary. I mean, even though like beginning to like, oh, a soldier, like, and I was like, okay, I was like, let's see if I can relate to this a little bit. And I was like, I was like, even if it's one of those things, like if it can be like related to like, oh, like this monster or whatever is tormenting him continuously, like eventually like something's gonna happen to where like the monster either kills him or just torments him forever. And I was like, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree with the 2 out of 5. I do think though that I think Siren-Head could be written well, because like the idea that it can play like your family members and stuff like that. I think that's kind of a cool idea.
Right. And like
I'm not saying it's not scary, but I'm saying that like the monster itself has like no
it doesn't
confirmed character or personality
yeah, I mean,
for
like,
you to be able to steal from as a creator. So you have to either be really creative or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't work well as a story, but it works good visually because it's a good design of a monster.
I think because it's based off of like not like a real monster. Well, I guess that's the best description. Like a real urban legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the idea is that it disguises itself as something in its environment. So like originally it was like trees, and then as time adapted it was like sirens, and now as time has progressed further it's like electrical poles and like street lamps, and it does it so it can eat people, because obviously people are one of the most abundant sources on the world, and you know, if they get eaten, it's kind of hard. What are they gonna do if you're a street lamp?
Right. And so like one of the things I was thinking about, you're like, oh, it plays like tornado sirens and like Amber Alerts. I was like, what if this monster, hypothetically, every time you get the Amber Alert on your phone, how it makes that ridiculously obnoxious sound? Like it's the one stealing these children, and then it plays the alert across the phone once it gets a certain distance away, and then it's just like game on.
Game on.
New board game. What up?
See, that's a cool idea. Like, that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
For it. I gave it a 2 out of 10 as well, just because, like, 2 out of 5 as well, just because a 1 out of 5 would have been the story's so bad I started laughing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I wasn't laughing. I was kind of intrigued, but I wasn't scared.
Yeah, no, I, like, the story is an okay story, like, concept-wise, but they didn't, I feel you on the fact that they didn't like nail down like the creature, but this is obviously from very, very long ago.
But like legitimately, there's some creepypastas I can't read without fucking laughing, like Sonic.exe and Jeff the Killer, which were hailed back in the day to be like, oh, these are, you know, some of the greatest creepypastas ever, whenever creepypasta was actually relevant, but like they're shit and not actually scary.
Bro, Jeff the Killer, I won't lie, that freaked me the fuck out when I read it as a kid.
Oh yeah, of course it'll freak you out when you read it as a kid, but it's because everything fucking freaks you out whenever you're younger. The original Child's Play movie scared people because they were young, but you watch it as an adult and you're like, look at that little doll hopping around with a knife. Ha!
Right. Like, there's still some things that, like, normally, like, a lot of horror movies and stuff don't really freak me out. But, like, it's the paranormal shit that freaks me out sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, no, fuck this. Like, I'm out. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yo, so speaking of that, this may be a bad time to bring this up. I had an idea for a video for the next squad meetup where we go to, like, a haunted place and sleep there.
Oh, 100% down.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
I mean, I'll do just about anything once, but like sometimes that shit like freaks me out.
Yeah, no, I feel you. 'Cause like I don't think I believe in ghosts, but like I'm open-minded. Like if a ghost came to me and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking haunt you," I would believe in ghosts. You know what I'm saying? But that hasn't happened to me yet, so like I don't personally believe in ghosts, but I'm open to the idea of it. It's like God. Like, I don't believe in God, but if God came down and was like, "Hey, I'm real," I would be like, "Okay, that makes sense. I believe you." And so that's kind of my thought on ghosts. Do you guys believe in ghosts?
I believe in the sleep paralysis demon because I've seen that shit before. But like,
Oh yeah.
Other than that, like, I mean, I don't know. There's sometimes like you swear you like see something out of the corner of your eye, and you're just like, you look over there and like don't see anything, and you're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that's whatever. I mean, like, I don't sleep with the light on, but
I'm more willing to believe that reality is a simulation rather than that ghosts are real. Like, I find that to be more reasonable, I guess. I'm not sold on ghosts, and I mean, I consider myself too rational, and like if something strange happened to me, like if I had an occurrence where I legitimately couldn't explain it, I would just eventually have to rationalize it as something grounded in reality, just so that way I don't assume that it's a ghost. If
But
that makes sense.
Isn't reality only like what we know at the time? Because like forever people thought the world was flat.
right.
And that was just the reality.
Look,
But
there's
then
still
it-
people
but-
that believe that the Earth is flat.
But what I'm saying is that used to be like that's what everybody used to think.
Well, yeah,
That
and then
was their reality. But like
evidence
then-
came out that it isn't
so I'm
flat.
saying like as we learn more, we discover what reality like what we discover more about the place that we are, and like that's how we now have like the laws of physics and stuff like that. That's how we have all these like rules that we know that the world follows. And so I think that's why I think I'm open-minded to the idea of ghosts, while not actually like I do not currently believe in ghosts, but I think that it's like if a scientist comes out and he's like, here's why ghosts are real, and he convinces me, then yeah, sure, okay.
Like, it's hard for me to be sold, even if someone did try to research and figure out whether or not ghosts are real.
What if a ghost
Because-
like just popped up in front of you?
I'd probably be like, damn, did I leave my VR headset on too long? What the fuck is this? You know,
If a
what
ghost popped up in front of me and was like, I'm a ghost.
fucking simulation breaking down something. Like, a hologram technology's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But, like, it's...
have you guys ever been to like a haunted place?
I don't.
I live right
think
next to a graveyard.
so. Like, it's not like one of those like somebody looks up an article and they're like, oh, top 10 most haunted places in Illinois. I haven't been to like one of those, but like I don't know. There's sometimes you go places and you're like, it's kind of spooky. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You've been to like weird vibed places, but never.
right, like I've never purposely looked up like top 10 most haunted places in the country and been like, yo, let's go. Like, let me
So
slap on my
there's,
GoPro and we're good.
So in like the northeast part of the state I live in, there's a place called Villisca, and in this place there's this house called the Villisca Axe Murder House, and it's
Oh.
called that because this dude axe murdered his family there.
Well,
Um,
fitting name then.
yeah,
Absolutely.
pretty self-explanatory to be fair. But you can pay $66, haha, to go like sleep there
Wait, why
for
was-
a night
Why was that a haha?
because it's like 666.
Yeah, but it's only two of them.
I think it's $66.60.
Okay, that would make sense then.
Or,
Or, I mean,
but
it could just be $69. I mean, either way.
but anyway, you can like go and stay there, and like there's like a tour, and then you sleep there, and a bunch of spooky shit happens. And I did it when I was like 12, 13 with my family, and it was pretty scary, but I'm pretty sure it was like planted stuff,
Right.
like
I think if they're charging you money to go do it, then I feel like
yeah,
that
exactly,
kind of has to happen. Just
But it was definitely like knowing someone got like, or like a couple people got brutally murdered where you're sleeping was definitely some bad vibes.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta
But-
think too on a day-to-day basis. Like you don't know, like when you move into a new house or you move into somewhere, you don't know what happened before you were there. Like you could go in somewhere where like, oh yeah, like the last couple that lived here, like domestics all the time, like she used to just get the shit beat out of her, and then something happened and one of them died. And just nobody tells you when you move in.
I usually Google an address before I move in, though.
That's smart. I've never done that.
See if anything wild pops up. I do it just so I can see if I can knock off rent.
The thing about staying in a haunted place is the fact that your brain, like, you usually know that it's a supposedly haunted place. Like,
you're susceptible at that point.
you are mentally susceptible to thinking that anything that you cannot easily explain by finding the cause of it is immediately caused by a ghost. Like, you hear a fucking creak in the floorboards. You don't think it's because it's an old house. You think it's because it's a ghost. Like, so whenever you are under the mental assumption that the place that you're at is, you know, where someone died, then that's when, you know, your mind can start to wander and you can be, you know, easily tricked into believing that you are being affected by the paranormal. So it's like the problem in making a legitimate case for, you know, a haunted place is that people have to go there knowing it's haunted so that way they can be properly spooked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if someone didn't know that the axe murderer house was haunted and they just stayed there for a night for $66 and then, like, nothing happened.
I imagine
It's the
people
worst
have
bed and
done
breakfast
that.
ever. Oh god.
But I reckon you'd still be the first to cry if we went to a haunted place.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but
I reckon
I'd be the first one to try to
when we
square
make
up with
that
the spirit.
video. I'm gonna try to fuck it.
Yeah, see, I tried to just fight it. Probably that's about it.
Is the ghost hot though? Haha, what's up?
Well, I swear to God, this one, like, I can't remember. It was some article I read, like, a long time ago. I swear to God, it happened when I was, like, 12, about this, like, porn star, like, talking about getting fucked by a ghost. And I was like,
remember.
Is that a thing?
I remember.
Like,
I remember the girl that said she got fucked by a ghost and then married it.
that may have been the same thing. I don't remember, though.
It's possible.
I don't
that's just
normally-
mental illness. That isn't that isn't
bro.
existence of the paranormal. That is the
No,
existence
she
of mental
fucked
illness.
No, she fucked a ghost and she married it. Not
Yeah,
legally,
and
of
Eli,
course,
and
but-
Eli Cray impregnated Cortana, and
He did? Congratulations, Eli. I bet his girlfriend is very upset.
It's like I just got finished watching Waco on Netflix, and it's talking about, like, David Koresh and how, like, his, like, all the things they're doing there, and, like, how he's basically practicing polygamy and, like, marrying all these wives and having kids with them, even though they're already married to, like, other men. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, this is different.
That's pretty sick.
In the end, almost everybody dies.
bro,
Being a dude and joining a cult is like the worst thing ever.
Right.
You're like, yeah, you can fuck my wife and I'll commit your crimes for you.
Yeah, I know.
That's the deal. And
That's-
I get
that-
nothing.
that's why cults only prey on people that have some sort of crack in their armor. Like, you never see anyone with any high mental fortitude. Like, you'll see, like, rich and successful people that end up falling into cults. You know, look at Tom Cruise in Scientology.
I was just about to say, Scientology? Hello?
But they go after people that have a crack in the armor. Tom Cruise, talented
Is short.
actor, lots of money, short, mentally ill. Like,
Because
the
it's short. Short people are mentally ill. That's
some
a
of them,
mental illness.
some people, you know, they're short. You know, it ends up giving them some form of mental illness. They feel like they have an inferiority complex, something like that, and they feel like they have to, you know, kind of showboat a little bit to make up for their height.
You gotta think Danny's only, like, 5'4", right?
What?
No, he's like 5'6".
Is he? I feel like he's shorter than that.
No, I think that's spot on.
Is it?
Just from looking at Danny, I never thought that he was like sub 6 foot.
Really?
Yeah, I
Haven't you
never
seen-
pictured him as short.
Haven't you seen pictures of like us together?
Maybe one from one of the squad meetups, but
That's the part where I just call him and ask how tall he is.
Do it.
All right, I'm gonna.
Let's find out.
But anyway, cults feed on people that have some sort of mental weakness, you know.
Real
I could've
cults
FaceTimed him.
actually feed on people.
I mean, who's to say Scientology doesn't feed on people?
That'd be cool.
I don't know if he has my number saved.
But they take advantage of people that have mental illness, just so that way, you know, they're easy to manipulate and they're willing to give up anything just for the tad bit of serotonin that being in a cult
Hi,
provides.
you've reached the mailbox of Danny Stazone. I'm not able.
Wow, what a bitch.
Good answer.
What a fucking
He probably doesn't have my
bitch.
number saved. But I mean, if you
Danny,
if
if
you get a number
you're
from
watching
LLA,
this episode, you dumb bitch. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think we should start a game night cult. That'd be a good video, right?
be interesting.
We just see how many people we can get to show up to a campsite and take LSD.
That's called a music festival. It's not a cult.
Okay, Game Night Music Festival. I can throw down some sick ass tunes, bro.
Lead performance by Men Who Whimper.
Yeah. We can charge, so like a hit of acid's like $10, so we can charge $20 for entry.
The entry fee is a Twitch sub.
$20 and a Twitch sub.
$20 and a Twitch sub.
Doesn't have to be
$20
recurring.
and a
though.
Twitch sub. Yeah,
I would say
you-
multiple months of Twitch subbing is
no.
your entry.
No, it's $20 or a tier 3 Twitch sub.
Okay.
I'll take either or.
That's fair.
I'll take either or.
I don't think I have enough. Well, I don't know if I have enough emotes for tier 3 Twitch stuff.
I could come up with some.
I think I've only got 2 for some reason, and I feel like there was another one that was supposed to be getting made that didn't.
What would your third emote be?
I think I was supposed to be having like a water jug, because for the longest time when I used to stream, I used to always have that water jug I would drink out of, and that was one that was going to be an
I
emote.
feel like isn't that in the? Yeah, that's in our Discord.
Is it? Yeah, I think I just never got the files for it from Jet.
That's fair. Probably still has them.
I would hope so. I'll message him.
I'm gonna message him.
Anyway, cults, music festivals. What's the main topic we're talking about now?
Well, the thing those things have in common usually is drugs.
Yeah.
And I've been to a handful of music festivals in my day. I've experimented with a couple of things here and there. On a short list of things I'm willing to admit. Obviously, I partake in marijuana. I've done a good amount of LSD in my time. Mushrooms, MDMA. Those are, I'd say, the main ones that are
That's
fun.
crazy, man. Have you ever tried DMT?
I have.
Wow. Joe Rogan
I-
would be impressed.
But see, here's the thing: is what what most people do as DMT isn't actually DMT.
No.
What most people do is 4-MO ACO DMT, which is like it's similar but not really the same. It's more similar to like a really intense mushroom high that just lasts for a short period of time. The reason behind that being is DMT is a really hard drug to make, and so there's no one who's making it in quantities, and also it's not a drug that people buy regularly, so it's not a very good client basis,
Fair enough.
and so it's not hard, or it's not easy to come by real DMT. It's easy to get 4-MeO. It's easy to get fake DMT.
Yeah, see, so this subject is like a very I'm not very knowledgeable in it. I know a little bit. I haven't partaken in any in a very long time. But like I've dealt with like the other side, the people who overuse and get in trouble and are on the legal system with it. So like I've dealt with that side.
Yeah, it was like something I think something I think a lot of people don't understand when they do drugs or when they see people do drugs is I feel like too often people use drugs as an excuse to be a shitty person.
Oh yeah.
In my experience with people who do drugs regularly, if you're a shitty person, you're just gonna be a shitty person. Drug addiction can be affected by or can impact that. Like, if you develop a drug addiction and you're a shitty person, you might like steal things and sell them to fuel that drug addiction. But that's less so because of the drug addiction and more so of who you are as a person. Obviously, the addiction is why you're stealing, but chances are you probably would have stole in the first place. Because I know plenty of people who use drugs you wouldn't expect recreationally and live like totally normal lives.
Oh, yeah, I've got plenty of friends like that.
Yeah, and so I think there's like this degenerate mindset that comes with doing drugs with a lot of people, that they instantly feel like they have to be a shitty person because they do drugs, and that obviously doesn't help with the stigma of things. But so have you either of you guys ever been to like a music festival?
Nope.
I've been to, like, I don't know if you'd really consider it a music festival. I've got a Warped Tour like 6 years in a row since before it ended.
Yeah, it's like,
but
Warped Tour. I mean, like Warped Tour, kind of so. At least I don't know about where you were, but in Minneapolis, it was.
Yeah, I would have gone in St. Louis.
I guess drugs were pretty policed at Warped Tour.
Yeah, for the most part, you had to sneak them in pretty hard.
But so like going to like not a huge festival, but like a 5,000 person festival, it's weird because the drug culture is very open because it's to be expected, and so like people are just doing drugs in the open, and it's a really weird experience. I feel like, I mean, I've never experienced it as a person who doesn't do drugs, but I feel like it's a very big culture shock for people who like don't, when you just like see people doing it so openly,
right?
And I feel like that's a lot of people's first experience with doing like psychedelics, at least, is like at festivals. And so I feel like that also just sets up a bad precedent for people, because they kind of get this idea that you can be open and exuberant about it in public. Because you're at a festival, that's fine, no one cares. But when you're doing it like recreationally at home, and your friend takes you to McDonald's, you can't act the same way you would at a festival. And I feel like that's a lot of people get in trouble that way and things along those lines. And I mean, personally, I wouldn't, well, I was gonna say I wouldn't recommend doing it outside an event, but I think there is a time and a place to use psychedelics,
right? Because
like it's a huge mental reset. Like you think about a lot, and sometimes like you can take psychedelics with a friend and have like a 6-hour conversation and just talk shit out, and then you'll wake up the next day and you just feel a lot better because you're like, fuck man, I thought about a lot last night. And that's nice to kind of just reset yourself. But mostly I'd recommend just doing it like at festivals, at shows, when you're doing something to kind of just enhance the experience.
There's definitely a time and a place for everything. And the sort of open nature of people taking drugs at like music festivals and parties, or just, whatever scenario like that. It's more common so there, just because everybody's kind of doing it. But the problem with trying to do it outside of any of those environments is that most like drug culture is pretty cringe anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's
this is coming from someone that has, you know, a very positive stance on marijuana.
Yeah.
I think that it's, you know, by itself it's not that bad. I think some people definitely do it way too much and get reliant on it. But, you know, it can definitely help a lot of people. But
yeah,
like
and I mean, it's just a good time and it's not too harmful.
yeah, but like weed culture is super cringe.
Well, my thing is like if you make any one thing your personality, it's cringe.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Like it's like the Reddit kids. Like
Oh,
their
God.
their whole life just revolves around Reddit, and it's just like that's fucking cringe. Or like Bible thumpers, like their whole life just revolves around Jesus, and it's like, bro, take a day off.
Or TikTok.
Like having something that you personally enjoy and gives you a form of fulfillment is good.
Yeah,
At its most basic level, having something that that you're passionate with, interested in, whatever, that's good. But having only one thing that you're ever passionate about
I was
puts
like,
you
your
in a
life-
bad spot because, like, what if you're just living your life one day and the thing that you love just doesn't exist anymore, at least in the way that you know it?
Exactly. That's how people end up like killing their favorite celebrities.
Yeah, like it's crazy shit like that. It's just whenever you make yourself so reliant on one thing because you don't have a wide spectrum of things that you yourself enjoy, that, you know, shit ends up becoming crazy, which is why I think that a lot of the problem with people that get like seriously addicted to drugs is their only thing that they care about. Whether or not they have more in their actual life, you know, depends on the situation, but it's just that's the only thing that they see as being of importance. They don't have anything else to really care about, so they're totally fine with just spending all their money on drugs.
Yeah, and I think life should be a culmination of like your passions and interests that all come together that make up your personality, which is like, I mean, that's why that behavior of like having a personality based on one thing as a kid is like kind of acceptable because you haven't lived a lot of life, but you know, as you grow older, you should have more interests and hobbies that play into who you become, and you should become a unique person and not just a one-note Nicholas.
Right.
There's just a lot of people I see that are like that now, where they're just hyper obsessed with like one thing, like a lot of like the fucking like stands and everything on Twitter, you know, whatever. They're just people that are just obsessed with like just a particular thing.
NPCs.
Yeah, like they're NPCs. They're just hyper obsessed with one thing that they have a passion for, which is great. I'm glad you like that thing. But it's like, if that's all that you have, then you're going to become very dangerous when anything threatens that. That's why anyone that has a negative opinion over anything that like a lot of people are obsessed about, like K-pop or whatever, they get quote unquote canceled because, you know, these they get canceled because you know they don't have a high-ranking opinion of this one thing that this group of people are arbitrarily in love with and have dedicated their entire life to.
Yeah, it's a scary concept.
Right. And
It's a scary concept.
so that's one of those things too, is like I feel like a lot of people, until you like, at least this probably was for me until maybe I started getting like later into college and like finishing college. Like I was like, I did the same thing. Like I was like always like went to class, came back, played video games. But then I started going out, hanging out with friends, going to concerts. I'd go hike. I got into weightlifting. You start exploring all these different options. You start traveling, doing all this different stuff, and then you get to enjoy all these other things and be like, okay, yeah, like this is still my main focus, but I can also enjoy all these other things too with different groups of people. So I'm like, that works for me because like I can show up to a party and be like, oh hey, we got like this group over here that likes this stuff, this group over here that likes this stuff, and we got all these guys over here that like this stuff, and I'm like, I can fit in with anybody.
Yeah,
And that's where I pride myself in. So
I agree. I feel like that's something I didn't learn until like very, very late high school, early college, is that it's like it's okay to just like not have just one set friend group to intermingle with different sets of people based on your different interests. Because it's like a reality I feel like some people don't realize is it's like your friends don't necessarily have to care about every aspect of your life.
right.
Like, as long as they respect it, I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, and I feel like a good example of this is like, I really like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's dope. I really enjoy it, but I'm like the only one in the group that does. And so it's like, I try my best to like not force that hobby on anybody, because I know it's like, it's not a hobby that's for everybody.
Right.
But it's like, as your friend, we're also okay with you talking about it, just because,
Yeah, I was like,
you know, you're our friend and we care
exactly.
enough about you that you can just, you know, tell us about, you know, what you're interested in or whatever. And
Exactly.
there's just not a lot of people, like, at least like younger people, because I'm only 19. I talk to a lot of people that are within my age group. A lot of them are just kind of fucking boring. like that sounds mean, I know, but like a lot of them, I get it, you know, just haven't gotten a lot of experience, haven't really discovered themselves. But like outside of like my friends, I try to socialize with people and I try to get to know them, but there's just not that much to know.
No, I feel that, and I feel like it's not even just like an age group thing. I definitely feel like most people I talk to are generally don't interest me, and that's not to say that they're necessarily boring people. They might interest somebody else extremely, and maybe we just don't have enough in common to talk about for me to find them interesting. But like, it's hard for me to find people that I can have constant conversation with.
Yeah. Now, sorry to sound like a boomer here, but I think that a reason for a lot of it has kind of been because of the internet.
Thank God. I thought you were going to say something racist.
No. No. Now, this is coming from someone that loves the internet, but I'm also willing to admit its flaws. When everyone has access to the internet, even though you can pull from, you know, the entirety that is the information superhighway known as the World Wide Web, people usually only go to the couple of things that they care about and don't really expand. The internet very easily allows you to put yourself into an echo chamber.
Yeah.
If you only look at your subscription feed on YouTube and that's all that you watch and you never learn anything else, that is your echo chamber of information. You're not bringing anything else in. You're not growing. You're not learning anything else. If you stick strictly to the people that you know you like, you're probably not learning too much about other, you know, YouTubers or whatever. Just as an example. So it's like you're not really growing that much even in the like content you watch. Same thing kind of goes for like Netflix and stuff like that. A lot of people will just get Netflix and then just watch like the couple of shows that they know that they like. They like The Office, Friends, and Grey's Anatomy. And I'm like, man, you must be really fun at parties. That's
Right, that's why
like there's so many people that's all that they watch.
That's why I openly ask for recommendations. Like I'll tweet them out, or like I'll ask you guys. I'm like, yo, like I just finished this show, or I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Like I'll click on it. You got to give something a chance. And that's across like all media.
I will say real quick on like the boring shows, I think it's acceptable to put those on if you're like, I need something to fall asleep to.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you're like coming home from work at 5 p.m. and actively putting on The Office,
yeah,
come on.
I'm not even saying that those shows are completely bad or like unwatchable or whatever. You know, that's your opinion. You can like them.
The Office is a solid 6.5 out of 10.
There's episodes of The
Hot
Office
take.
that I like. I don't think it's like great, but there's so many people that just really like these incredibly basic like TV shows and just never really expand to anything else. So like you try to ask them like, oh, what are some of your favorite movies?
Film or something.
Not like that, but like it's to the point where they just watch like very basic like Netflix options, to the point where you ask them like, oh, what are some of your favorite movies? And they're like, I don't know.
I just say Star
What do
Wars.
you mean you never watched a movie before?
I feel that. Speaking, just real quick tangent. Speaking of movies, today I watched the trailer for the Infinity Train arc movie of Demon Slayer. And so, if you haven't watched Demon Slayer, I very much recommend it. Only one season's out right now. A movie and season 2 is scheduled to come out October 16th, but with how
We'll see what
everything
happens.
is right now, I wouldn't hold that as a hard date. But I watched the trailer today, and Demon Slayer is just so beautifully done animation-wise that I'm so fucking excited for this movie. Also, the movie's in 3D, which I think is going to be super cool. And the big theater in my city always has the like anime movies when they come out. So I'm really excited for that. That looks really, really good. I'm really excited.
Every movie I was excited about got pushed to fucking next year, so I'm completely uninterested in anything that's in the cinemas until 2021.
Yeah, it's like
the theaters are closed anyways for the most part, so
theaters are closed anyways, but they're gonna open back up this year.
I'm confident. My whole city opens up on Friday.
Nice.
I guess I don't do anything anyways. I don't care.
But like, I was excited for Venom 2 and Morbius, and they were both coming out this year. Morbius was only going to come out a couple months from now, and Venom was coming.
Spider-Verse 2 got announced, didn't it?
Yeah, it got announced. That wasn't.
Yeah, I was like, I was just, you said Venom, and it made me think of it.
That's coming out 2022 if it doesn't get delayed. I don't know where they are in production.
I don't think it's getting delayed. I think the production's probably just starting.
Like, they're probably just writing it so they can just do a friggin' Google Doc from home.
Also,
they can collab on the script.
Yeah, I was like, also, if they do the same thing that they did with the first movie, they don't, they just have people fucking animate it, send it in.
I mean, yeah. A lot of these actors that they have doing the voice work are millionaires anyway. They can buy a fucking nice mic and just record from home.
Go look at any professional voice actors, Twitter or Instagram. They all bought booths. Voice acting's changed forever.
Right.
Nobody's entering the voice acting career anymore.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen until a bunch of like famous characters die.
People die off.
Yeah. And then they're forced to change it. It's not like one of those like weird things where like with actors and stuff, like, oh yeah, this actor died, or like some kind of scandal happened and we gotta bring in like a replacement. It's like, okay, why'd you do that? You should just kill them off in the show or something. Like,
yeah.
But voice actors, like, I mean, you can kind of change because you can get something that sounds similar, or you can just go with it, I guess, or you know.
So, that's something that pissed me off about the new Star Wars movies is that Leia died.
Yeah.
Like, when The Last Jedi was being made, if I'm correct.
Correct.
She died during production, right? Like,
Yes.
after she had shot all of her scenes?
Yes.
There's a scene in the movie, which I know, Geek, you're not a Star Wars guy. There's a scene in the movie where Princess Leia comes very close to death. Her fucking ship gets blown up, and she's out in the void of space.
Right.
And she crystallizes like she's being frozen.
Yeah.
And then she uses the Force for the first time on screen and saves herself.
Correct.
This would have been the perfect opportunity to actually kill her for real.
Right.
And it would have worked. The rest of the movie still would have been the same because she basically does nothing. And they didn't have a script written for episode 9 yet at the time, so her plot involvement in that movie was irrelevant whenever they were making this. So they still kept her alive and then had to make a sequel to the movie using pre-recorded footage and CG trying to act like Carrie Fisher is still alive.
I mean, they did the same thing with
Right.
Fast and Furious, right?
I think so.
Oh, Paul Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also died at the end, didn't he? The end
I
of the
think
Fast
so.
and Furious movie? Yeah, so it's
Or
like...
did he? I think he just drove away, right?
He might
Yeah, I
have
think
just...
he just drove away.
I'm not a big Fast and the Furious guy. I just knew that Paul Walker died.
And they just deep faked his face onto his brother's body or some shit.
Mm-hmm. But... yeah, even then, that's like they wrote that character out because either he died or drove away or whatever. I haven't seen the movie.
They'll probably bring him back.
They still got him out. They didn't write Leia out for the rest of the sequel trilogy and still had to acknowledge her in the next movie.
Right.
Merchandise, fam. Disney doesn't care.
Merchandise. They've already shit on the entirety of the Star Wars IP and will continue to make toys that no one buys for the rest of eternity.
I bet tons of people buy them.
Yeah, see, I don't think
People
Disney did a terrible job.
don't buy the toys based off of the new movies. I'll tell you that right now.
No. Adults don't buy the
Right,
toys
but
based
young
on
children
the new
do.
movies.
So no one buys them.
No, kids buy them.
With what money?
With their parents.
Their parents?
But like, there's
What the
characters
fuck
that they're
do you
making
mean?
toys of that like even kids wouldn't give a fuck about.
See, but that's where you're wrong, because you're just in Walmart and you're just being annoying, and your mom's like, if you shut up, you can have a toy. And so you get a little fucking $5 Star Wars figurine, and you just buy one that looks cool because you're a kid. You don't actually care about the movie or watch it or anything. You just buy a little Star Wars figurine because it looks cool, and then bada bang, bada boom.
That's what I'm meaning. All the Star Wars characters that look cool aren't from the new movies. If you're buying if you're not buying a $5 little Star Wars toy for your kid because he thinks that it looks cool, you're buying your kid a little Darth Vader or something. You're buying your kid a Darth Vader or a Darth Maul or a Stormtrooper or something like that.
I probably wouldn't pick for my kid. I'd probably just be like, you go ahead.
I'm saying what they would think is cool. Because there's legitimately toys of some of the sequel trilogy characters that have, like, no lines and don't do anything cool in the movies and don't look cool.
Right.
Like Rose from The Last Jedi. They've got toys of her that that go unsold for forever.
1 second. Rose, Last Jedi.
Yeah, see, I mean, they do that just because, like, she did have a little bit of a part, like, in the movie. Like, obviously towards the end. So they're like, oh, like, we'll keep her in here and we'll, like, make this toy because, like, oh, someone's going to see this and someone might want it. Like, somebody who, like, a collector who collects all of them is going to have to buy it.
I have a Reddit to show you that'll show you why exactly this toy sells.
Okay, what's the Reddit?
Yeah, it is r/figure in... Is it figurine in jar?
Oh my god. No. I know what you're trying to show me.
Yeah.
I know the sequence of the ancient texts because I was there when they were written.
I was there. I was the pony. That's a creepypasta.
To everyone watching this that doesn't know the context of what we're talking about, gonna give you a little 18+ warning on this. Rainbow Dash cum jar. You can Google that, figure out the original story all you want, but that is it's the reference we're making here.
I'm gonna give a huge warning here. The pictures are graphic.
The pictures are graphic and disgusting.
If you're eating, don't look at it.
If you've recently ate, don't look at it.
If you are eating, do not look at it. Especially if you're eating hummus.
Oh, no.
Just check the time on the recording, and I just realized that one of the last things that's going to be in this episode is a reference to the Rainbow Dash jar.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying quality content where we tell you about Rainbow Dash figurine covered in cum in a jar. As always, I would like to thank my co-hosts Tanner and Jordan for joining me today on the GameNight Podcast.
It's fun to be here.
Of course, you can expect to see them more in the videos on the channel and obviously the podcast as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to leave a like because it really does help us out. And, leave a comment calling us slurs or something. Just, really whatever.
Or something.
Really just whatever. It doesn't matter. Although, put a space between the swear words because YouTube will block them for review. And so you're gonna comment, why'd you delete my comment, pussy? And I didn't. It's just YouTube is not gonna post that. Obviously, if you call me a slur, YouTube's not gonna post that. You gotta work around the system.
Anyway,
so remember,
all feedback is appreciated.
Space in between your slurs. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. All the links are in the description below. And a big shout out to Rogue Energy as always. If you're listening on the audio version, obviously there was already the plugs at the beginning, but for the YouTube listeners, be sure to check the codes in the description below. At the time this gets posted, there might be a game night code, maybe. I have to check my email, but it's possible. If not, then me and Jordan's codes will be in the description below. Anyways, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.